Sometimes you just have to start all over differently. Hi, I'm Linda Watson-Call. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Dragonfly Soup. If you are enjoying these episodes, please show your love by clicking on the like icon. And if you think this episode would be of value for somebody else, by all means, feel free to share it. Let's get the message out. You know, when my computer or even my smartphone slows down or doesn't respond quite right, I know what needs to be done. It's time for a reboot. Shut it down, let it sit for a while, and then start it back up again. And it's running as good as ever. Well, I've been thinking that now that businesses, although very slowly, will be starting to open up again, it just might be a good time for us to evaluate where we are in our life. Even though we may not know what the new normal will look like for us, we have a better idea than what we had 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now, some of us may have gotten the call to get ready to come back to work. And some of us may be on the fringe there. You know, it's going to be another week or 2 or as long as a month before we can go back. And then there are a few of us who aren't sure that we'll ever work again this year because so many of our venues, like our beaches, will be closed for the remainder of this year. This could be an ideal time to reboot or even restart our life. So how would we do that? Well, start with some downtime. Okay, you're going to tell me we've been down, we've been home, and we haven't gone anywhere to speak of. But that's not downtime. You were doing things. You were worried and concerned. You may have even been afraid of what might happen or might not happen, and that's not downtime. So plan at least one day, or better yet, 2 or 3 days, just to reconnect and recharge yourself. If you can, leave your house. Book a room in a motel or a hotel or a cabin somewhere and leave the mayhem behind. Be alone. The stress that most of us have been experiencing can leave you zapped, exhausted, and interfere with your ability to think. A few days of peace and quiet, a retreat of sorts, can clear your mind and give you a new perspective on life. So don't pack that computer. Turn off your cell phone once you get there and unplug from the world. Plan to spend your time sleeping. Don't set an alarm to get up at a certain time in the morning. Try to do some meditating, indoors, outdoors, your choice, and de-stressing by having plenty of healthy, easy-to-make food and drinks on hand. Then consider taking an inventory of your life. What parts were great and which parts gave you anxiety or were distressing? Take the time to notice that life doesn't always flow in a same easy direction. There were probably some rough spots in your best times and joyful moments when you weren't having a good life. Pay attention to those. How did you react? If you were going through some setbacks at a time that was good for you, did you take them in stride, or did you start to think that your whole world was going to fall apart? And when life wasn't so good, did you view the good things that happened as good? Did you think your world was going to start to turn around and everything was going to be great? Or did you feel that this was a fluke and these good things would never last? Now, think about where you are right now. Do you feel everything is ending for you? You know, endings don't have to be bad. Endings often are a way of creating a new beginning that is even better than anything you could ever imagine. You know, I was in my 40s when my marriage ended. It was a relationship that spanned over 20 years, and I was scared. All I had going for me was my job, which I loved, but I had no home and no real community since I had to move to another location. But within 2 years, I was in a beautiful, healthy relationship I started moving toward my goals that I had put on the back burner for the better part of 20 years. And I had no idea that during the time that I was scared, a beautiful life was about to start for me. Starting over is scary, but can also be a reason for celebration because we aren't bound by our past. We are directed toward our future, and that future will be formed by the conscious choices that we will make. So, if you are looking for healthy alternatives for a negative lifestyle, consider joining new organizations that focus on the positive. And if you can't do it in person, there are plenty of groups that meet virtually. And don't feel that you have to stick with the first group that you join. This is your time to go shopping for the right fit. After all, if the group fits your ideals, then it is going to help you to move toward your new life. Consider creating goals. The goals that you made at the beginning of this year may not be applicable due to the events that had happened over the past 2 months. They were good at that time, but life has changed drastically. This might be a good time to chart new aspirations and dreams. It's okay. Life has changed and we need to be flexible. Bernard Calvin Klein, Ghana's #1 authority on personal branding, says, sometimes you just have to start all over, differently. Now, you may not feel that you need a complete reboot of your life. Maybe you just need it in one area. So are you considering a different career? And then that will call for a new wardrobe. Or do you need to change your lifestyle so that you become healthier? Well, you might as well reboot your eating habits as well. Or perhaps the shelter-in-place time made you realize that you've been overworked and overbooked. So reboot your calendar and give yourself some me time. Time to relax and take care of the most important person in your life. That would be you. Chances are, if you can do a retreat, even if it's just for one day, you'll want to keep that serene feeling going. And you can do that by practicing certain principles every day. Start with your morning. Do something healthy for yourself. It might be eating a good breakfast, or spending 15 minutes reading an inspirational book, or just taking in the sunrise. Start your day by filling your being with calmness and beauty. Then take a mid-morning break and journal. You might want to find some thought starters or pick a theme for each week. One week you journal on serenity moments, and the next week you journal on peacefulness. Or you might want to try writing free thought. And that's where you write down whatever enters your mind at that particular moment. Then, later in the day, find another 15 minutes and use that time for meditation or possibly yoga. In the evening, spend 15 minutes doing some exercise. Walk, jog, bike, whatever fits your lifestyle. And there you have it. 1 hour retreat every day, broken into 15-minute segments to keep you charged and ready for anything that life might bring. So let me know, either in an email or a message, how you plan to reboot your life. Tell me too what direction you feel life is taking you. And be sure to click like for this week's episode, and while you're at it, share it with a friend. You might also want to check out our gift shop, where you can purchase items like Dragonfly Soup t-shirts, hoodies, and other gifts. The link is below. Or you can show your support for this program by clicking this link. Any contribution to help continue this series is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you next week, right here on Dragonfly Soup. Here's to our transformation and our best year ever.